One of the wonderful things about being with Master Hsuan Hua for so many years, almost a decade, or a decade actually, a little more, was just the way he would look at me. And I could tell he was, seeing a completely different world than I was seeing. And often he would look at me and it was like his neck was swelling, like almost like inexpressible frustration, like, don't you see? Can't you see what's in front of you? Like that. And you could see that the world was completely different. That he saw, the way he saw the world was so different from the way I was seeing it. And to see in his eyes and his heart, you could see in his expression that it's right in front of you and you don't see it. Why not? And that's what, as a monastic, spurred me on when I would see his helplessness in a way and how it frustrated him. Like, don't you see it's right in front of you? How come you don't see it? And it was so easy to see that he was seeing the world in an illumined way, and I was seeing it through so much darkness. Even though I was so happy as a monk, I never had a dull moment. But it was the Master's example that really was an impetus for me to practice harder and harder. And it made practice so easy. Any sacrifice was really easy because I could see in my teacher this incredible awareness that was mine and yet not quite mine. And I wanted that, I wanted that recognition myself, that validation. And so that's what spurred me on. The teachings are the Dharma body of an enlightened teacher, what he said, what is recorded of his words, his life, his message, how he lived. A teacher, an enlightened teacher, he doesn't live any longer than any of us, but his words live far longer. The Buddha's words are as vital today as they were 2,500 years ago. And there isn't a single enlightened master that has passed away that has not told his weeping and wailing disciples to stop crying. His physical form is, upon birth was destined to only last so many years. And so instead of being upset at the passing of the exhaustion of a teacher's life, everyone breathes their last inhalation and exhalation. no matter how enlightened you are, you will do the same as everyone else. But teachings never are exhausted. And they live on in the not only in the books, but in those who have studied the books. So the teachings of the Buddha, they were passed on to many yogis, many dakinis, many householders, many ordinary people that through study and self-sacrifice realize the truth of them. And in many ways, those teachings have been elaborated on through commentaries of those who are the torchbearers of previous teachers. So the teachings from ancient times to now are found in books, and they're found in other masters that have carried the lineage through their own realization to fulfill the bodhisattva ideals of their own teacher. So as practitioners on the path, whatever teaching we identify with, first we should study as deeply as we can and create a real thirst, know what we understand in those teachings, and know what we don't understand in those teachings. Because the more clear we are on what we understand and what we don't understand, when we do meet a teacher, we know what to say, what we need. If we don't know what we need, then it doesn't help the teacher very much. We have to create the thirst. And so if we create the thirst through our own self-study of the ancient texts and really create a desire to know, a desire to gain the experiential realization of what the words mean, a validation, a sense that, oh, I see correctly, I see the meaning. That validation that we're seeking, the more clear we are about the validation we need, that sense that we're getting it right. If we don't get it through our own study and effort, if the stronger our thirst is, when we do see a great teacher, he will see that thirst in us, and he will help us accordingly. Even if we just look into his eyes for a brief moment, while we offer a silk scarf, some fruit, some ghee, some money, any token of tradition that brings us to a teacher, that we can have that moment. A great teacher will know where you are, and he'll look at you in a very special way. And it may not happen right then, it may happen later, but it's the fact of being in a teacher's mind stream, an enlightened being's mind stream somewhere, swimming around in his stream of consciousness, assures that, some blessing will come from that encounter. Some call it the look of grace. It's just the powerful meeting of eyes of a master. When it happens, it happens. It's not something we just go running around looking for a master. We run around looking for, reading and studying and meditating until that opportunity comes by chance, by necessity. And that's the big blessing. But we must prepare ourselves. Otherwise, we're just, in the audience, just unable to fill our vessel because, we have not created the thirst. So we must create the thirst ourselves and then see the teacher. So that's how it works. So if we want to receive the maximum benefit from a teacher, we have to first create in our mind a sense of doubt, self-doubt, longing for truth, and renunciation of worldly attractions. Not because we're blocking anything but because we find them insubstantial. We're plugging into something greater, but we just can't quite find what it is, but we know that it's not going to be satisfied by following anything that's material or any desire. We get that far. And once we've gotten that far, then when we see a teacher, he can help us get further. But we got to get a certain distance ourselves. That's just the way it works.